It's been called the wonder drug, one that's able to treat various diseases, including Parkinson's, asthma, insomnia, and autism. Cannabis. Some even believe that it can cure cancer. But just how valid are these claims?
I issued a review of 500 articles between 1964 and 2015 on the effects of cannabis. It causes serious brain damage. 1 in 2 get addicted, a whole lot of other problems.
Thailand has become the first country in Southeast Asia to legalize the use of cannabis for medical purposes. There are 2 main ingredients in cannabis. THC, the psychoactive element, produces the feelings of euphoria or the high that drug addicts crave. CBD shows promise of medicinal and therapeutic uses. Medical cannabis research is focused on separating the 2 ingredients and harvesting the use of CBD without the effects of THC. One man says medical cannabis cured his cancer. Admittedly, I'm skeptical about such claims. So here I am on the outskirts of Bangkok in Klam Sangwa district to check out his story. When retired policeman Chalo discovered he had late-stage colon cancer, he knew the odds were stacked against him. He had to go through several rounds of conventional chemotherapy treatment to get rid of the cancer cells. One day, he simply gave up.
ตอนให้คีโมแหละตอนให้คีโมผลข้างเคียงคือ1ทานข้าวไม่ได้ไม่มีแรงคือทุกอย่างทำอะไรไม่ได้เลยน้ำหนักก็ลดอ้วภาพลงมาเหลือประมาณ30 โลตอนนั้นเหลือ30 โลเหลือแต่เหมือนกับเนื้อหุ้มกระดูกเลยพูดง่ายๆเนื้อหุ้มกระดูกเลยต้องหยุดเล็บหลุดหมด
Chalo said after he stopped his chemotherapy, he relied only on cannabis oil to treat his cancer and nothing else.
ที่หลังจากใช้มาตั้งแต่เริ่มเลยนะตอนไปวัดค่าเลือดว่ามีเชื้อมะเร็งหรือไม่มีผมใช้ไปประมาณ3 เดือนกว่าทีละ3 เดือนอะไปตรวจค่าเลือดไม่มีแล้วเชื้อมะเร็งไม่มีแล้ว
For the moment, there seems to be insufficient evidence to support or refute the effectiveness of cannabis as a form of treatment for major diseases like cancer. More facts and research-based evidence need to emerge rather than anecdotal examples.
Experts are themselves not convinced that this is overwhelmingly good because of its psychoactive properties, because of the fact that we don't have a huge body of evidence that says, wow, the benefits far outweigh its risks. Potentially, it can create issues, whether medically in the short term or socially in the long term.
And we know that for every 1 person who suffers from an addiction, at least 5 family members are affected.
If you have substance addiction, you cannot supervise your kids very well. Unsupervised means, there is a likelihood that as a child you will face a lot of adverse childhood experiences. The trajectory of your growing up experience will completely change.
We want to protect our children. Our harsh laws, no society can take joy in either having such laws or imposing them, including the death penalty. But it's because we are convinced that it saves more lives. It saves our children. It gives them a better future. It saves the innocent in our society.
There appears to be a rising trend of countries that seem to be accepting medical cannabis. What's the reason for this and why now?
The power of money and propaganda. Pharmaceutical companies have a big interest in pushing this.
The medical cannabis market is projected to grow to $56 billion by 2025, according to business consultants at Grandview Research. Now that Thailand has legalized medical cannabis, this would position the Southeast Asian country as the epicenter of the burgeoning industry. Estimates claim that Thailand's legal cannabis market could reach $5 billion by 2024.
So the companies which are interested in making money out of this, really dealing in destruction and death, have found a new way of arguing it. They say, oh, it is important for medicinal purposes. It fuses 2 different concepts. In some medicines, you have some cannabinoid product. That's researched, scientific, medically approved. So they take that and they put a label, cannabis is good for you, for medicinal purposes. And they spend a huge amount of money advertising it because they see that if they push it, oh, it's important for medicinal purposes, then it's much easier for people to accept it. And some governments, quite frankly, then also look at the potential tax revenues. Though that's a bum game, because I think in the states that have legalized, they find that the cost associated with increased health-related problems far outstrip any tax revenues. More people are getting into emergency treatment, more accidents, more homicide, more requests for psychological counseling, psychological disorders. So the healthcare costs actually are shooting up. But the real answer is a lot of money, propaganda, pushing it purely for private gain, financial gain.
But those who argue for legalizing, they underline that it's medical cannabis and it's not for casual or recreational use.
It's a case full of holes. There is no logic to it. If you want medical cannabis, what you are really saying is certain cannabinoid compounds which are already included in some medicines, which can be prescribed. There's no problem. So why do you need to go from there to consuming raw, unprocessed cannabis? You don't need that for any medicinal purpose.
Do you think then there needs to be a clearer distinction between support for medical cannabis and illegal drug use?
If you explained it to people, people will understand. But what has happened is a huge amount of propaganda, because the pharmaceutical companies cannot go out there and say, we want you to buy more drugs and we want to make more money out of you. So they try and persuade you that they're doing this to your benefit because it's medicinal, you see. It's bunkum.
So if a Singapore citizen go to Thailand and seek medical treatment and they get prescribed medical cannabis and they want to bring it back to Singapore, now how would that apply?
I will question this term medical cannabis. This is a term that, the pharma industry has used to try and whitewash the whole subject. Now, if people get prescribed medicine which has some cannabinoid compounds, then there is a proper prescription for it. And if our doctors agree, then there will be no issue. But you must get our doctors to look at it and say, yes, you need it.
Is this in place?
That is in place, but the truth is, under the rubric of medical cannabis, if you are given basically cannabis to take with no clear medical purpose, we are not going to buy that. And my concern is in some countries, that's what's going to happen.